Figuring out a way to protect your plants is an important part of preparing for gardening each season. We're at the very beginning of spring here, and we are planting our tomatoes very early in hopes of getting an early harvest before we get pest and disease pressure that comes on in late May and in June. Here we're using some common supplies from the hardware store, some 1/2-inch PVC pipe, a variety of fittings, and we're going to dry fit a structure that we can use to protect our plants from a variety of things. Here we have cold weather coming on, so we are setting something up to hold frost cloth. We're making this where we can take it apart and be able to move it in the off season, take it apart, store it away in a small space, just making it very functional, very versatile. After we get done with the cold weather, we're actually going to use this same structure to tie wrap bird netting onto. We have a large stray cat population in this particular garden area, and they tend to disrupt the soil, damage our plants, and just generally make a mess in the beds. So we're going to utilize netting to keep some of the other common wildlife out that you might face in a garden. So if you're dealing with birds, squirrels, or other similar pests, you can use netting and a structure like this to deter those away. We create structures like this ahead of time to create systems. Having a system in place allows us to spend less money later on using pesticides that we don't want to use, or dealing with other issues, or just the potentiality of losing our harvest altogether to something that we could have prevented. So we're really doing this for prevention. Once we've got the structure complete, we are placing just a common frost cloth over the top of it, and then we've got enough room to be able to tuck it under the edges just to hold it down. Common frost cloth size wasn't quite long enough on one end by a couple inches, so we took a second one and we layered it on top to make sure we could get that covered. In this particular instance, we had some small tomato plants that were planted close to the edge, and the wind was going to be pretty bad during this particular cold snap, so we happened to have some extra nursery plants around, and we lined the side of the bed with those tomatoes to act as a windshield. You could do this with anything that you might have around the house, but it's just another way to add an extra layer of protection around the bed. Stay tuned and you'll see how things fared after we uncover this after the cold weather.